Yeah. Yeah. Hello.
Out of interest really, so I left my job back in September and I'm in the process of just setting up like different income streams online, and I want to hear what you have to say on the energy side of things.
Nice. Thank you very much.
Sorry, what was your name again? Oh, Katie, sorry. Katie. Did you say that then?
Welcome, Katie. Matthew.
Matthew, and I'm here because I love energy. Energy is everything, so anything to do with energy is always interesting. And then I like one step later, like niched into energy of the business or energy of communication, energy of public speaking. So anything to do with energy I think is really interesting. Also, I want to come support my brother.
Woo. Thank you very much, Matt.
Yeah.
Welcome.
I'm Steph. I came here because I've been coming here for 6 months this year already. I just went home to Europe and came back, so I was like, oh, Thursday, let's go to Cafe Coach. So it was a very spontaneous decision, and always up for input on how to thrive, especially in business. So yeah, curious to hear what you're going to learn today.
Nice. Welcome, Steph.
I'm Chrissy, and I just started my life coaching business in mindset coaching, and I'm here on holiday, well, working holiday actually, for about a month. And a friend actually told me about Cafe Coach, and I was like, well, perfect, because I want to learn everything there is about coaching and everything. So I came here last week as well. I really enjoyed it. So I'm going to come every Thursday as long as I can.
Nice.
So I'm really interested about this topic as well, of course.
Thanks. Your name again, sorry?
Christy.
Nice. Welcome. Thank you, Christy.
Hi guys, I'm Petros. How you doing? I'm super curious, so I just go everywhere where I'm uninvited. So
Yes, man.
Carlos as well. Yes, man. Yes. And let's see what this energy thing. I'm sure I'll learn something new. So looking forward. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you, Pedro. Our friend on the back. I work here, sorry. I wish I could be with my friends. Hi, thank you.
Cool, should we start?
You can introduce as an organizer.
Yeah, well, my name's Adam. This is my brainchild, like the workshops started about a year ago to build a community in a place where people can grow through business and personal development. And also invite speakers so they can test themselves out and grow a community for themselves. So that's what I do. But I think it's time to start now.
Definitely.
Cool.
Thank you very much.
This is who we are.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming. Please give me a round of applause.
Let's go. So thank you everyone for coming here, and I hope that today you get like deep insights about the nature of reality. Thank you very much to him for organizing this. Thank you very much to Cafe Coach for facilitating the spot, and let's start to see how can we manage our energy better to thrive in our online business during 2023. And my name is Carlito Fluito, and today you're gonna get many stories about me because I love to do this type of talks reflecting on what's happening in my life. And fun enough, most of the stories, if not all, are about this last year, okay? And I am a super energetic soul that exactly this was 2 days ago when I did this energy session with a woman that is also into BDSM. So this is my open-mindedness, which is a trait of my personality. And we were at some point in the session where she tell me like, channel the energy of your genitals and just send it up, send it up, send it up, send it up. And at some point she asked me to do this mudra in my hand. So I channeled so much energy, and then I intensified so much that the moment that I closed my hand, I couldn't open it anymore. And I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? This is so much. And then she told me like, shake it out, let it go. And this is a reflection of me being this person that has super high levels of intensity and energy. And as you can see on my human design, I have both the crown center open, which means like I have infinite amount of inputs through my mind, and at the same time this root center open, which means like in many occasions it's difficult for me to fully ground myself and put these ideas into motion and action. And why I'm saying this is like it's important, and this is part of the selling with love message is like, don't compare yourself to me. So today we're going to explore a lot of ourselves, because we are different human beings and we know plenty of the things that are already out there about how to manage your energy, or how to control yourself, or how to improve this and that. But the importance here is like, what can I know about me and what applies and resonates with me? And these two images are a bit of where my life is at the moment and reflect what has happened during the previous 30 years. So I have been studying psychology pretty much for the last 12 years. I did a degree, then a master, and then I was doing a PhD, and I specialize in spirituality and well-being. So this has been like my obsession lately. Nowadays, I'm much more focused on working out with the body. And apart from that, I'm working with that person over there in sales, which is the most important factor for an online business and pretty much any type of business. So this is some of the key skills that I'm developing and that I think that can be extremely valuable for you throughout the talk. We will come back to that. As I mentioned, I could be categorized as ADHD, and this is the thing that I choose to label myself as super energetic instead of ADHD. So that's again the idea of getting to learn about ourselves and learning how to label and understand ourselves in a positive way that actually serves us, right? I'm also hyper creative, so if I go too crazy on this, you just tell me. And the part of the being unique is like, don't compare yourself to me because I have so much energy. This is what in many occasions these marketers and guru does. Like you can be as energetic as me if you buy my course. No, it's not like this. It's more like you can observe yourself and you can understand your own range and you can improve from there, right? And this is the whole selling with love. And soon, thanks to the talk that I did in Mind Valley U, which Luca mentioned, I might become the face of a new app on spirituality, biohacking, and development. And this is the amazing opportunities that appear on our ways when we embody who we are, which is a bit of the message that we will see later. And I also dance, and I have been doing theater for many years. So what is the intention of today? The intention of today is, let's see if I can make you reapproach reality and reapproach yourself, so you can go in deeper layers of understanding what is your role, your mission, your purpose on this life, and what's the role of energy into making this happen, and using your business as a tool of making that purpose and activity to be real, if that makes sense. So I go quick. I love to give a lot of information and a lot of input. I work one-on-one. If I go too quick today, you just slow me down, okay? And I love to do one-on-one sessions, either digitally or in nature. So if you want to explore Bali at the same time that we have a powerful conversation, hit me up at the end of the talk and we arrange details. Sounds good? Boom! And this is about me. So now, let's start with the fun things. So we are going to start with the what. And I love this idea of thinking on first principles, right? So what is energy? I used to be such a skeptical, scientific, rational person that whenever I see these pictures of magnetic fields around the body and people doing Reiki or distant healing and stuff like that, I was like, wait, what is the background scientific research that you have to claim that? Right? And that's how I came so many steps back to start from here. Well, actually, to start from here, right? But a very big step on this, on opening my mind and understanding energy from a more spiritual point of view, in my personal journey has been psychedelics, okay? So in these three pictures, I'm totally high, right? So I'm going to very briefly explain you a bit of this journey, because the first picture over there, this is the 1st of January of 2022. So this is more or less 1 year ago, where I took psilocybin, like a pretty big, generous dose of psilocybin, and I was with a friend on Spain, on my hometown. And I had this huge insight that could be summarized on all reality, all existence is three things. Atoms, which is the matter of everything. Then we have numbers, which is the way we dissect this and organize these atoms. So language could be like a development of numbers. And eventually consciousness, which is these things that we cannot explain what they are, but are observants within somewhere within these atoms. And this was the big insight that I have there when I'm doing handstand, right? So after that, I had this lovely psychedelic trip with LSD in the festival of Burning Man in Lithuania. Okay, it was called Amber Burn. And that day, I had a different insight, where I had already embodied this idea of atoms. Everything is atoms around us. But I had a moment of deep self-love, where I love my package of cells. So that was like a next step from being an atoms to now I'm a package of cells, and I love myself so deeply, each and every one of my cells. And this is connected as well with the power of understanding your own energy and your own consciousness, and how can you apply and control all this to go to deeper layers of, for example, self-healing. And eventually this one was big one in Zurich, where I took something like ecstasy combined with other things. And that was the full embodiment of me being on a public space, because it was like one of the biggest open air festivals in Zurich. And there was full surrounded of people, and I was alone, and I was extremely tripping, and I was feeling all this energy going up and down, and I was doing exercises of embodiment with it, and it was extremely healing. And some of the message that I was telling to myself was like, love yourself, love yourself, love yourself, love yourself. So that can be a bit of a hint of today, like how can we manage our own energy to use that energy in the vibration of love and direct it towards ourselves, so then in our business we can transmute all this energy into our services that we give, right? So this is me loving myself. And that's a bit of the same journey here. Like, that's one of the videos that I saw not so long ago of the best representations of atoms that we can have. I'm pretty sure that you have seen like this representation, you know, where this is the nuclei with the proton and the neutron, and then we have electrons here. And the guy is saying like, yes, but this is such an oversimplification of what really an atom is, because the atom is something closer to that. And this can put us better into understanding of what is energy. At the end of the day, is this electron moving a lot, but it's not an electron in a point, because then they do these quantum physics experiments, and it's like the moment you see the electron, you fix the electron in a place, and when you are not looking, the electron is in different places. So that's closer to an actual representation of an atom. And now when you think like one electron can be all over the place, the movement of it is creating this electromagnetic energy field around. And when you stop thinking that all reality, including all this air that seems empty, is full of these things vibrating at a speed we cannot understand constantly, then it's like, okay, we are oversimplifying reality extremely, right? Because the next step, which is a glucose, which is like the energy that the body uses, think that each of these hydrogens is one of these mess of things that is interacting with an oxygen, which is another bunch of mess of things. And all of this is vibrating like crazy. But then the next step is like we have this structure, which is the cells, that I spoke on this psychedelic trip, that I realized I love each of these. But all of this is a mess, vibrating like crazy. So, and this has been my bridge between having like a very strong critical scientific understanding of energy and how I can move it to a more spiritual esoteric understanding of these religious traditions that speak about how to use energy. Makes sense so far? So if someone is asking you about, is questioning you, your energy, well, you can refer to these type of things and tell them we know so little about how atoms are or behave or relate to each other, that we have a lot of room of discovery into how can we leverage this type of energy through our consciousness. And that's quite heavy, but that's the message of this, is like start thinking in your own life about first principles, which is what I'm going to do later with the protocols, right? Like, now you understand the first principles of reality, you can build up on them and apply them to your own specific situation and your own unique business. And especially, which is more important, to your own self. So for me, the first principle here is get to know yourself into a deeper level, get to know the different components of your personality and what makes you unique as a soul, and work out through that, finding out what gives you energy, what is taking you energy away. Because whatever I'm telling you today is going to be a framework, but it's only either if we work on the one-on-one or you work on yourself when you are going to find out what is working for you. And if you want, we can go and do a private ceremony and go into the journey to the depths of your being. And there is plenty of wonderful, amazing places here in Bali and in Indonesia, and there is plenty of substances that we can explore together. And with all the background and spirituality, I'm confident that I can guide you in a very lovely, safe journey through it. And now is how. So now we are going to go with the protocols. Okay, this is a bit of the meat of the talk, and there is a huge abundance. And with the framework that I have already given you, the question here is more like, what applies to me? How does this apply to me? And again, there is a story to start with. So this happened actually 24th. So this is like 4 days ago. I was in Ubud and I went party with my friends. And I never drink alcohol, so I had never gotten this drunk since 4 years ago. My friends and me, we go to one of these night shops, we buy a bottle of gin, a bottle of juice, and we start doing the classic vodka Russian of 1, 2, 1, 2. So half an hour in the party, I'm super drunk, I'm dancing my ass off. Next day, I wake up, and we had talked about the idea of developing an app that night. And I was so excited, it was so in alignment doing the app, it was so supportive of the moment where I am in life that I didn't have hangover. I work out and then I start working on the app. And then you say, okay, this guy is special, but this is like the level of energy that you can develop when you're fully in alignment of what you really want to do. And as you're going to see in the next slide, being in a hangover is the more energetic, taxing process that you can put yourself in, right? And yes, I took a chill because that's part of the ultradian cycles that we're going to explore as well. So, why I'm saying this, because these 4 organs are the 4 organs in your body that are consuming the most energy, right? Which one is the first?
Brain.
The brain. This thing up here is taking 20% of the energy, of the consumption of our body. 20%. So, I'm going to check this because I have written the techniques here, right? So what you can do with that? First thing, which is my newest drug, and Luca is very knowledgeable, and also Jason is very knowledgeable of my newest drug, is like, brothers, we're in 2022, soon in 2023, and we have tools that are allowing you to outsource thinking. Yeah, I'm gonna repeat this, so then I catch all your attention. We are in 2022, we have tools that allow you to outsource cognitive functions. Among them, creativity, memory, thinking, critical thinking, decision making, right? And memory is very simple. If I asked you 10 years, 20 years ago to tell me 5 phone numbers, you could have told me, but today I bet you cannot, because you outsource your memory into the smartphone. And nowadays, with the appearance of AI, we are going to start outsourcing creativity, and we are going to start outsourcing decision making. But I see it as an advantage, because then we can put this 20% lower, and we can also orient our brain and adjust our brain through neuroplasticity to the things that the technology doesn't allow us yet. And the same example, I can put it with the muscles. You know, back on the days we have to walk all the time, or we have to leverage the force of a horse to move from one place to another. But then we have cars. So we are leveraging tools and mechanisms to outsource that energy into other vehicles. Making sense? Right, fantastic. Now, apart from that, if you want to give a break to your brain and you want to chill your brain down, nature. And I'm going to mention things that I'm sure all of you know, like nature, sleep, grounding exercises. There is also the eyes. I think the eyes are so relevant because the eyes are an extension of the brain. Like it's like a huge neuron, basically. Like the eyes is like this huge neuron that has developed so it can catch stimuli from outside. if that makes sense. And that's why I was listening to Huberman podcast. If you're familiar with it, it's fantastic. And he speaks a lot about sleep and a lot about circadian rhythms. So guys, during the morning, try to catch the sunrise light during the first hour. And during the night, if you see the sunset, fine. And then if you can not watch screens, not watch electric lights, then it's perfect. You just use candles. And that's all the energy that you are going to save and that you are going to be able to restore. It's making sense? Fantastic. And all these things is like, you know them already. I'm pretty sure. And it all goes back to atoms and photons and activations of the circuits that shouldn't be active during these circadian rhythms. And now we go for the second organ that is the most expensive taxing for the energy. Which one it is? Jason says heart. No, it's the liver, brother. So what is the main function of the liver? Now it's biology class of primary school.
It's involved in the digestive system.
Yes, but
Produce
the bilis, yeah. But
Toxins.
exactly, toxins. The liver is the cleaner. You know, and my mother from Spain is like, is not the cleanest the one that cleans the most, is the cleanest the one that gets dirty the less. Does make sense? I repeat it. The cleanest person is not the one that cleans the most. The cleanest person is the one that doesn't get dirty. So, how can we save energy? And this is something that everybody knows also. Don't get dirty, which is toxins. So, reevaluate the diet that you are taking. Reevaluate, this is mostly diet or also consumption of toxins through the lungs mostly. But that's the big thing. Like, what are you inputting in your system? This is going to be taxing for it. And a very beautiful thing that more or less get me this job as a face for the Finland app, the one about biohacking. Remember about the atoms. Where electricity moves better? Does it move better when it's on water, or does it move better when it's on fat? Can you answer? Like water. So if you put like a cable into the water, then the electricity will move. If you put it into fat, it will not go through. So again, if you want to move your energy and your electricity and your biomagnetic electric atom generating thing inside, if you do fasting for prolonged time, you are going to consume fat in your body. So your ratio between water and fat will change and you will become more water. And at the end of the day, each of our cells in our being is packages of water. There is this beautiful thing of we are packages of seawater that develop this skin to get separated from the outside, right? Because inside is the same, it's just salty water floating around. So if you want to move the energy through your body, which then we go to more spiritual things, then try some fasting for some time and explore with how does it affect your energy practices, right? Next organ that consumes a lot, the heart. So again, these practices, I'm betting you are very, very familiar with them. So what are the practices that are going to help your heart? And now we can go also to more psychological functioning, which is the stress mechanism. We have the parasympathetic and the sympathetic. The parasympathetic being the relaxing system and the sympathetic the activation system. If you want to activate your system too much and tax your energy and expend it, then get stressed. Get as stressed as possible. You will feel how tiring, that's it. If you want to do the opposite, then learn to relax yourself. The best and fastest way to relax yourself is through love and compassion, because you are putting your attention to other people and you are sending them good wishes. And I can tell you a super brief story. When I was in Brussels and I was in the car and I was getting super angry, super stressed, I wanted to anxious and run away. And one thought appeared into my mind, which was like looking at someone else that was in another car and he was as peace and stressed as I was, but instead of looking at him with this thing of you are as fucked up as me, that switched me the perception of it. And I saw like, okay, this guy is suffering as I'm suffering. And then what I did was starting wishing good things to him. and I start wishing, may you have the best day of your life, and may you get a raise in your job, and may you win the lottery. And just by doing this change of my perception, it changed my whole physiology, and my anger disappeared. So only with this technique you can totally transform your anger into love and peace and calm, right? So love your heart, don't spend too much energy on it, or transform the energy of it into positive energy. And finally, the muscles, which we have to invest our energy in the muscles, in the musculatory system. And this is, again, it takes us a step back into the chemicals that are released when we do exercise. So these chemicals involve dopamine, which is very good for motivation, and adrenaline, which is good for excitement, and to literally have more energy into the process that we take. So doing exercises will help you a lot to have more energy, especially because we are working when we are seated, because we are all doing all these online jobs. So it's so fundamental, guys. And there are some very good Instagram accounts that says things like, take breaks of doing a squat, or take break and do a squat in the, like this toes squat against the wall, or just do planks. All of these things are fantastic. And today I did another one. If you have a sauna, you have a nice bath, use it, because this will put your body into a very healthy response to stress, and at the same time to a very muscle relaxation, which will make you save energy. And I'm sure you know these things, and I'm 100% sure. So now we go to more psychological factors, right? Am I going too fast? Is going good? It's been a lot of information. Let's do this. So first of all, attention and perception. This is basically the doors to reality. We live in a consciousness inside this package of cells, and then we have to communicate with whatever is outside. And we have this attention and perception. If our attention or perception is tired, then it's our brain, so we can sleep. There are hacks and tricks of activating, and Huberman is really good on saying some of these. One of these is just opening your eyes and stare at a fixed point, which is close to meditation. And if you stare at a fixed point but then it's above you, this will automatically wake you up and bring you more energy, right? And I have a story which this small thing saved my life once, because I was driving after a festival, one of these rainbow hippie festivals, and I was super extremely tired and in a very emotional, taxing moment. And I was driving, and I was literally falling asleep driving. And I was basically going to die, but just by keeping my eyes as high as possible while I keep on driving, it kept me awake and alert until I reached my destination. But that day, I almost fall out of the road twice. And I kept myself awake just by looking up. I don't recommend it, just take a nap. But if you ever need to have some extra input in your attention and perception, just look up for half a minute, right? And also, very important, listen and learn your ultradian rhythms and cycles. These rhythms are 90-minute, right? So we have this 90-minute boost in energy and attention and productivity. So learn how to leverage this. So if you are focused, use it, and then relax. And for relaxation, you can do techniques like NSDR, like non-sleep deep rest, which is like a yoga nidra or a type of laying down meditation, where you put your consciousness and your body into a very deep levels of relaxation. You might not fall asleep, you might, but with 10-20 minutes of this, you can sort of restore the whole system and be back again and reset to another ultradian rhythm, right, of another 90 minutes. Motivation, this is fundamental. We work seated for a long time, so find ways of activating your motivation. And for this, exercise is fantastic, definitely. And then we have the classic affirmations and visualizations. If you want to keep your energy high, do these things, because they work. The psychological mechanism and even the spiritual mechanisms of fully making that reality happen might be different, but at least the psychological motivational mechanism is there. If you visualize your goal, you might feel more attracted and pulled to it. There is some science that is like both ways. Like, maybe if you visualize too much, you believe that it's already here and then you don't work towards it. So it's always good to be grounded and check your reality and check where are you and where you are going. And for the purpose, this is so important as well. It's like, okay, you are learning techniques of how to have a lot of energy or how to manage it better. But for me, as the story on the app, is like, what is my alignment and my purpose? And once you know these things, motivation doesn't matter. Because motivation is like a very surface level of keep yourself working. But when you go deeper into your being, through knowing yourself, is when you fully realize like, okay, this is like I have to do, it's not I have to do, like I choose to do this because it's my sole purpose. And the rest goes through the window, really. And if you want to connect with your purpose, think about, 2-3 things. One is contribution. And contribution is about love and it's about people. Like, what is my thing to do here so I can improve the life of other people in the planet? And through psychedelics, it's very easy to realize that we all have limited existence on this planet, which goes between 1 and 90 years most of the time. So the point is we have limited amount of time. What do we want to do with it? And the more you connect with this truth and this choice, the easier it is to move through things. And second, focus on your passions. This is a classic one, but your passions is like something that happened on your past that is emotionally associated with, that is emotionally relevant for you. So it's going to connect you with something that you truly love to do and to perform. And when you are on this moment of alignment through your passions, it's like you just have energy to do it. And it feels very healthy when you need to rest because it's self-love, and when you need to keep on working and keep on moving things forward. And finally, your identity, because identity is going to come later as well. The more and the deeper you understand who you are and who you want to become, the easier it is also to find activities around that identity that are aligned and supporting it, and the easier are to perform those. I'm going a bit complicated, but a very quick technique for identity is these lofty questions, which is, why am I so happy? Why am I so quickly into making presentations? So you just transform these type of questions that a lot of people say to themselves, like, why I do everything bad, why I'm so messed up, why I always do things wrong, to the opposite. Why I'm always doing things right? Why it's so easy to connect with people? Why it's so easy to perform my task so quickly? Why I'm always focused? So through doing these type of lofty questions, you just create an identity unconsciously of a focused, connected, productive person, right? And finally, the sexy energy, which is this spirituality and energetic energy. So this, I have to recognize that I'm not an expert on this, but the practices are there, which are like meditation, introspection, self-observation, noticing sensations. I did this 10-day Vipassana, 7-day actually, and that's the point, like many things awaken within me. The same that with the psychedelics, many things awaken. So now is the exploration of techniques like Taoism or yoga, that they have huge tradition on how to activate these different energetic centers and how to move the energy around. So if this is what resonates with you, just go for it and explore it. There is plenty of books, and if you're interested, I can mention more. And finally, sexual energy, which is something that I'm like discovering, as you saw in this BDSM energetic masculine alignment session. I think it's so powerful, at least on male, and I guess on women as well. I'm not specialized on sexual female energy, but on male it's this drive of, it has made kill each other during the history almost of humanity. So this is so powerful that you can take other people's life. But what if from an elevated state of consciousness we can start using sexual energy in creative, loving ways? So just ideas to explore, guys. And this is more about business, right? I'm giving you a lot, guys. So first, if social, we live in this social environment, so are you an introvert or an extrovert? If you're an extrovert like me, you get super highly energized when you are with people. If you're an introvert, you get energized when you are more by yourself. So learn this about yourself and apply it to you. Do you need to recharge by being alone, or do you need to recharge by being with other people? And the same with a romantic relationship. This is, I think, is a key factor. If you build a romantic relationship that is not supporting you, it's going to take your energy away. and this is going to affect your business because as Ezequiel mentioned in the next episode of the Selling with Love, the business is an expression of yourself, right? So if you have problems in your personal life, they are going to manifest and express on your business. So especially romantic relationship, find a good one that is supporting you. Financial. The finances is this type of energy, that, like money, that you can leverage. It's so powerful that you can transform that into pretty much anything around this capitalistic society. So guys, if you want to fully make input into your business, just make revenue. And the best way to make revenue is through sales. And yes, I am biased because I'm working on Selling with Love, but seriously guys, if you need to make more energy for your business, focus on revenue, because revenue is what is going to allow you to leverage that money into different forms of energy, which in many occasions is people, other people working for yourself, right? And this is sharpen the tool, okay, which is this thing of sharpen the show in the 7 habits of highly effective people. Guys, we are in 2022 and there is AI, okay? We have artificial intelligence, which I think is a magnificent tool. So sharpen it. Discover what are the best tools that are on your reach, and then you can start use. So then you can outsource as many tasks as possible on these tools, and you can leverage as much work through using them, right? So sharpen those tools, okay? Master them. And finally, supplements. So caffeine is one supplement that most of us is taking, and it affects our circadian rhythms and the ultradian rhythms. So be conscious also on how you use it, because it's going to affect your sleep, which is the main mechanism that you have to restore energy in an organic way. And secondly, if you want to go to more psychedelic mushrooms, there is plenty also of research, and little by little, society is being more and more open. And I think Bali is a pretty open society. So you might explore those at your own risk, at your own consciousness. And as always, if you want a session with me, 2 hours, I can make a dissection of who you are and how we can apply all these different areas and elements and activities in your life. So 2 hours with me, we can and make a full plan that you can use and apply at your own tempo. And having said this, we go to the last part is this and the conclusion. So when, this is so important. So when are we going to apply all these tools that we have learned? Because that's the problem that happens in many occasions. There is so much that it can happen like we go into decision fatigue, we don't know what to do, or it can happen that we go into, okay, it's too much, we try to do everything at once and the whole thing falls. So we come back to the same thing. Who are you? And I'm going to refer to this process that was happening during August and September this year. So I'm a full digital nomad, and I can say this with confidence because I spent at least one month, 2, just traveling with that red backpack, which is this one. And Jason is, you are a witness of how it was. And even Ezequiel, like each of these backgrounds was different every time. And Ezequiel is my coach. I paid thousands of dollars to this guy to just take the shit out of myself and put me in a state where I can recognize what is my identity and live in an alignment of it. And that's the power and importance of it. And yeah, basically it's hours of conversations, session after session, of understanding my past and understanding where I come from and understanding what is my being, the core of my being. And if the vision that I have of my future is aligned with it. Because in many occasions we build these visions of, I want to be billionaire. It's like, brother, do you? Do you want to be billionaire, or someone input this idea into you and you just believe it? So in many occasions it takes digging deeper. And this was painful. This process was painful, it was long, and especially because I wasn't doing it on the best circumstances. I was living on trains basically through Germany. And I was going to place, staying in a hostel twice per week, 3 times per week, and then being on trains, writing. You can do it easier and better than me, or you can go through it. It was lovely. So the big lesson of this is the know yourself. And this has been said in very different cultures throughout history. So if you have to keep something for today, it's like, know who you are, discover what do you want, and start finding techniques and mechanisms that are aligned with that, so you can input the specific techniques and strategy that are supporting you. right? And as I mentioned, you can go broad and try to do everything at once, but it might not work. So it's so important that now that we enter in 2023, you decide, okay, what are the different areas that I want to focus? And my recommendation is don't choose more than 2. You choose one thing that you want to focus and you choose a secondary thing, right? And you focus on this. You focus on this. Because everything, will get into place, and those are powerful questions that you can ask yourself, like, what are the key areas in my life that are not working, that once they are working, the rest will be much easier to fix? What are the core of the things that are not working at the moment and why? At the same time that you keep the awareness of focus on your passion, focus on what you are good at, and learn how to make money so you can leverage all the money in the things that you are not good at, right? So, boom. If you want to work with me through 3 months, I'm more gentle than Ezequiel, okay? We did it in 2 months. And also, I will input many of the different techniques and strategies and being and exercises that I used to love to do so much. So yeah, we can put thyself and thy business in alignment in just 3 months, working together. And we can go through all the layers, from physical to psychological, to spiritual, and of course to all this business and all these strategy aspects. And the takeaway of today is know yourself so you will master your energy. If you want to know more about my stories, because I have infinite number of stories, I published a book called 13 Letters since 2013. It's available on Amazon. And this is the draft of the next book that is not finished at all, which is a project that I had, like, let's write 22 letters about this year 2022. 2022 is finishing, so I will publish this book next year. But if you want to know more, you can find more on Amazon, definitely. Sorry. And we have the lovely William Shakespeare. And I think it's so important, like this above all, to thine own self be true, and it must follow as the night the day, though thou canst not then be false to any man. Which basically means know yourself so deeply that you know the core and the truth of who you are. So once you live in this contact of this alignment and this life, you are not false, because you are not false to yourself, you are not false to anyone. And the energy is just circulating, and the vibration that you are in is the vibration of truth. And with truth comes love, and it comes peace, and it comes chill down and alignment and just executing and moving towards your purpose, right? And this is my life in Bali lately. So my health is being one of the focus. So I'm loving this couple over here. They are taking me to amazing places, and thanks to them is how I arrived here, definitely. And they brought me to the gym that they abandoned afterwards. But yeah, I'm going to the gym quite consistently, and yeah, my diet also has got really better, which is another technique. I have a menu, so I got delivered the food. I don't need to think. I outsource the thinking about food, and I know the food is healthy, so I can focus more on actual work. And now it's being sales, which is being lovely because it's bringing the revenue and some protein shakes. And of course, enjoy the beauty of existence, enjoy the beauty of being here, which is an amazing, wonderful place, and never overestimate how beautiful can be a sunset. So guys, because it regulates the circadian rhythms as well. Thank you very much, and this was the talk of today. Sure. Woo, intense. So guys, if you have any questions, we can go deeper into the rabbit hole. Yeah, I think I'm good on time, right? Yeah, nail it. How was that? Yeah.
I'll ask a question, actually.
Definitely.
In your transformation, you make a lot of references of times where you got insight through psychedelics.
Yeah.
And if I'm someone that would not want to necessarily take psychedelics, do you have anything you recommend, or do you think it is necessary to get those ideas?
No, I mean, okay, the way I like to refer to psychedelics, for me, is more like a catalyzer of the process. So it speeds up the process. But I have had huge insights that I have not get deeper. And they are written on my book, on the 13 letters. So one of my most powerful experiences, spiritually speaking, was when I was addicted to Facebook and technology, And I took my phone and my laptop and I gave it to my flatmate. And I told him, don't give it to me. And I locked down in my room and I was working and I had this huge connection with reality. And this was like a psychedelic level experience. Out of taking away the thing that was taking all my attention and perception and connecting with the present moment. So first, if you want to go deeper without psychedelics, leave the phone and leave the laptop for a week and see what happens. Okay, this is one. And second, I did Vipassana. And in Vipassana, I had a huge experience, like almost an out-of-body experience, vibrational state. So also, if you want to go this deep without psychedelics, try. There is a theory that I would love to explore deeper within psychology of religion and spirituality, which is this, the closure of your perception, right? It's like if you block all your senses, you are forcing your system to look inside. There is also this technique of spending 10 days in darkness. And I have not done it, but Niraj has done it. And it's like you start generating DMT from the inside. And it's because I'm assuming your brain is not receiving any type of external stimuli, so then you have to generate a stimuli or you go crazy. And therefore you start looking inside and you start realizing how much and how many things are going on inside. So those three can be techniques that you can apply without the need of psychedelics. Yeah.
Maybe also like a retreat, like a silent retreat?
Yeah, like Vipassana is silent retreat, yeah. And you can go as hard or as, I'm a super extreme person, as you have seen also, so you can go as hard as is adjusted for you. And also you can experiment and play with it. You can start with 3 days of Vipassana, see where it goes. Or a silent retreat, see where it goes. Yeah. More questions, guys?
Can you speak more about the 90-minute cycles that they did already?
Yeah. So this is called ultradian. I'm gonna write it so then you can research more. So ultradian. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like this. I don't know the whole biology of it, right? I'm assuming, I'm going to speculate a little bit. It's like when you wake up in the morning, you have this spark on adrenaline, right? And this beginning of the adrenaline, the cortisol in the morning, is what is keeping you awake for that time. In ideal situations, you might eat if you don't fast. So once you eat, you will start generating all these digestive processes. So most of the blood will come to your bowels, and then you don't have so much blood to use it. So what I'm meaning is, if you attune these cycles with your activities, you might leverage better the spontaneous biology of it. I'm not familiar of the whole biology, but I guess it's a sort of, how they call this, self-regulatory system, osmosis, like homeostatic system. You cannot stress what we were speaking yesterday. We are not machines. And even machines, if the machine gets too hot, you need to cool it down, because otherwise, if you go to atoms again, if they vibrate too much, they will stop functioning. So I guess it's a self-regulatory system of the biology and the physiology of the being, so you can keep on working by heating up and cooling off yourself, right? And it happens, every 90 minutes. That's what it's found. So basically, it's like in 90 minutes, this is ideal for focus work. You can be 90 minutes like working like crazy, and then you take a break, and you spend 50 minutes of break, 20, or even 90. And also, it's very important to switch activities. And I mean, I'm an obsessed of learning, so I love to listen to podcasts, for example. But the point is, if I do brain work for 90 minutes and then I take a walk with a podcast, I'm not letting my brain rest, and I'm not allowing spontaneous inputs to come to my mind. So it's so important that the silent in many occasions. And just look at the beach and relax and let this soft stimulation, which nature gives really nice, to calm your perception and attention down. Yeah. Is that answering? Close to? Thank you. One more. Yeah.
What's it like working with Jason?
How is like working? Yeah. It's one of the. What do you want? The joke? The joke of the truth. I mean, this guy told me like, in the same conversation, he told me, who are you? And at the end he told me, come take my money. So, and I mean, Jason has received my voice notes when I was in some of these scenarios that you saw. So yeah, I'm blessed by working with him, definitely.
The question I actually want to ask is, what was that transformation like in those 2 months? You have all your recordings recorded, right?
Yeah.
What was your idea of like going through that coaching process while going on like trains and doing all of that?
So okay, this is a bit of my own psychoanalytical interpretations of it. So I have a lot of place anxiety, and this is, if you look at my life, I've been jumping from place to place every year, more or less. So at that point, it was even more relevant to, if I stay in the same place, I get anxious. Like, so it's a form of escapism, you know, like traveling as a form of escapism. So as a digital nomad, I mean, I've done my thing of traveling, so that's the point. Like, when are we using moving from place to place to not look at ourselves? And in my personal case, it's like the people that are eating ice cream while watching romantic movies, you know, you are like acknowledging your pain in the relationship, and you need to feed your system with a habit that you know is self-harming, just to keep on understanding the psychological implications that you are receiving through the movie, that your relationship was broken, for example. If you picture the scenario of listening to sad music and then eating ice cream, it's like part of your psychology is understanding that the relationship is over, and part of your physiology is lessening the pain of those insights. So for me, was like my psychology was understanding that I was half fucked up with so much of my life, and I was digging so much shit, and my physiology didn't want to live with the anxiety of being on the same place. So yeah, and it was super taxing, physically, energetically.
So you're traveling through that process with like you're like sedating yourself essentially?
Yeah, it's a form of self-sedation, yeah. Like people that take drugs to go through painful. So for me, the drug was like moving. And also in trains, I didn't have internet, so it was way easier to not get distracted through the task of writing, which is the temptation of avoiding the pain. So, you know, it's sort of unconsciously I generate the perfect scenario for me to go through the process. Yeah.
So what do you do? What kind of work do you do as well?
He's better at sales than me. So now I'm doing sales calls, which I love. I've helped Jason to put together the different trainings we have around sales. So we found out that, you know, there are many coaches that have amazing services, but when they want to put their business together, there is no revenue. So it's like sister or brother. It's like if you don't fix your finances, the whole business is gonna go down. Like you build your online course, but then you don't sell it. So it's like a call of attention to all these people that are very entrepreneurial, but they forget the main skill, which is making revenue. So he created the philosophy of selling with love, which is, in many occasions, is like heart-centered entrepreneurs. They want to do good. So sales comes with this dark side of, I need to trick the person to sell them my product. But then the philosophy is different, because it's like, I know that person is in pain, so how can I deliver my service? And how can I speak in a language that the person understands that they need my services? So that's all the selling with love. And I have helped him to put together the different trainings that we have online, and I help him manage the community also. And now the sales and more things coming.
Well, you have the energies.
Yeah, lovely. Yeah, you can check it out. The podcast is amazing, zero cost.
What is it called?
Selling with love. Yeah, selling with love. Book, podcast, fantastic service. Yeah. I'm open to feedback. Yeah.
Don't you also have, after taking a lot of those drugs and things, that you actually go down, like being really depressed and stuff like that?
Depressed? Not really. I think psychedelics have a huge impact on me, especially. This is a story that I have not told because it's before 1 year. I was doing a PhD on psychology and spirituality, and it was around nature, right? And it was very ironic because it's like I'm researching being on the nature while being on a lab. And nature is this super varied thing, and I'm doing the same topic one over again. And it didn't feel in alignment at all. So yes, that I can say it was my heavy last depression that I have. And after, well, during the identity process, I had some crashes. But no, normally, no. I got to know enough about myself to know how to keep depression check, which Jason has like a big role on this moment of my life right now, because here I'm surrounding myself of people, which is very important factor for me, people that are inspiring and they support what I do and they believe on my skills. And that's why it's really difficult for me. And now the things I'm doing I'm very passionate. So it's very environmental for me, depression. Yeah.
So it's important for you to be around the right people that support you and not be around people that maybe...
Yeah, nature. Also, Europe is tricky for this because Europe in winter is buildings and dark. And here in Bali we have the opposite. We have light and nature. So also the environment here is very supportive into have high emotional states. Yeah. Yeah, I'm super open to receive feedback, come in private after, and if you want to speak more about working with me, I'm super open as well. And otherwise, there is plenty of free resources. Come ask me if you have more specific resources that you want. Thank you so much for coming, and I hope you enjoy the presentation.
Thank you.
Woo. That was nice. There is drinks, there is food. Feed yourself, get some energy.